Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Mac.
And today we're giving our first impressions of Race to the Raft, which is a game that just delivered last week, and I've been excited to play. A lot more excited than you, but like you've said probably in past videos, it's not like games get you extremely excited just based on, a new game in general, versus maybe you get a little bit more excited once you actually play it if you actually enjoy it.
Yeah, right.
This was one that comes from Frank West and I was going to say the Isle of Games, but it's the City of Games, I believe. But he could call himself the Isle of Games now because I think the Isle of Cats has been a pretty popular game. So that was his original. So this is kind of a new game based in that same world. And it is a cooperative game, and it, outside of maybe the polyomino feature, it plays very, very differently than the Isle of Cats.
Yep.
So if you like the Isle of Cats, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to like this one. And if you like this one, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to like the Isle of Cats.
Right.
So, yeah, I was excited for this one. This was one that I actually watched, I think, a decent amount of gameplay at the time when this one dropped on, can't remember if it was Kickstarter or GameFound. But, yeah, I was excited for this. And the fact that it was cooperative made it a little bit more interesting to me. It felt like one of those pandemic-style games where you're kind of racing against the bad thing that's happened, whereas in this case, the island's kind of all starting on fire.
The cats lit the island on fire.
Yes, I bet it was the cats.
And now they're running for the raft.
They're running for the raft to get off. Kind of the ones that you left behind in the Isle of Cats, the ones you weren't able to save, are trying to get on a life raft. So you're kind of trying to create patterns of, route building and stuff, pathways, of the specific color of the cat to get them to the raft. So it's generally an easy thing to visualize and explain.
Yeah.
But as we found out, it may not have been as easy to actually do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we played through the tutorial. There's four of those, and then we played one of the actual campaign.
Yeah, we just skipped right past the practice.
We skipped past the practice because we were pretty good on the tutorial.
Well, it helps when you don't have to lay fire tiles because you read the rules wrong for two of the games.
Yes, I knew something seemed wrong based on remembering kind of how it was. I was like,
this
it felt like a lot of fire before, and we just aren't putting any out because I had only, for some reason, read that the only time, or I didn't read that the only time we put fire out, the only piece of the rules where I read about putting fire out was whenever you discarded 4 cards to move cats, and that obviously did not happen that often in those first few games, but really whenever we were laying out new tiles onto the board, I should have been laying them out. So our first 2 were really, really beginner intro games to really get a good fundamental of how to place tiles and move cats. So if you really want to take it easy, just put
I was like, wow, that's not...
This is really beginner.
Easy. We beat that one in like 4 turns the first time.
So we got a few gameplays through, 3 of which were actual playing it right.
By the rules.
2 were a little easier. I enjoyed it. I like games where you're building routes and stuff. I do like that it's a cooperative game. We played it at just 2 players, so it was kind of just going back and forth. I don't know how that would end up playing if you played at 4. I think that's the max here. I don't know how much it would change it, but kind of throughout that tutorial and stuff, you're learning a few new rules as the games go by, and I think there's even stuff we haven't played with yet that might be more, because there's we're in kind of the normal campaign now, and then there's an advanced one where you have even more rules. So we're still on the easier stuff, but yeah, I thought the game flowed pretty well, and once we were putting those lava tiles out there, it became already pretty difficult, even though it was kind of the tutorial and first one of the I was like,
we're going to lose the first one of the campaign, aren't we?
That's what I thought was going to happen there, because it wasn't looking good.
That sets us up well for the rest of it.
So, yeah, I thought it felt like a good mix, and it seems like one of those that'll get more and more difficult as you're adding extra pieces to it. If you've ever played The Crew,
similar.
It kind of seems similar to that, where like some of the things that we had to do now were like, oh, this cat has to kind of get to the raft first, or this cat has to get to the raft last. So those are the kind of things that are similar to the crew, where this trick has to be taken first. So yeah, it seemed kind of like that, and then different setups each time. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's going to be. I think they're all going to feel a little bit different. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is. I don't know. It is a game.
Oh wow, that's why they're here, babe.
It is a game, but it is like one of those. I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a kind of a puzzle, just a puzzle at the same time.
Yeah.
So it uses a different. I don't know how to explain it. Like
thought or
yeah, like
strategy.
I played like the Hunt. I think it's called the Hunt for Planet X, and that one is a game as well. But it feels very much like it's just a puzzle of trying to figure out where that one is and what's around it.
Okay.
So it's you're just it kind of feels like you open up one of those puzzle books or whatever that have different games and stuff that you're doing. That's kind of like the feel it is versus kind of I don't know. Play a lot of Euro games and other games and stuff, and I don't know, they feel more gamey. Whereas this one feels very much like, okay, we got to do this and then this and then this.
Right.
So there's that to it. So I don't know that it's because of that. Like I'm trying to think of like the fun factor. Like it just feels like I'm doing a mathematical problem trying to find the solution.
This is too close to the fire. It has the least amount of pathway. We've got to do this one. And okay, now that we did that one, now we have to work on getting the purple one and whatever. And maybe that strategy doesn't work long term in this game.
Yeah, and that's just it. There's a lot of campaign to play.
Yeah.
And I definitely look forward to it. And it's, what did we play all of those games in probably 2 hours or less?
Yeah.
So it says 40 to 60 minutes on the box. I think probably a game I think 60 would be the longest. I don't think it would even take you that long to do one game of it.
Maybe if you had multiple people.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if that would
and you had like somebody who was doing
the time,
like
maybe
analysis paralysis on it.
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
But
that
really,
could maybe do it, but
really, I think you know whether or not your card is going to work, or not, and that kind of simplifies the decision-making process. It's the worst though when you've got multiple cards that don't work and not a lot of movement for the cats. So.
Yeah, I would say in the games we played, we didn't move the cats all that much, and maybe in the future we maybe have to, start moving them a little earlier and giving them shorter paths, whereas we were able to kind of create a longer path before we'd have to move them. So yeah, I don't know if long term that will work.
Trying to maximize their movement ability.
But yeah, I think initial thoughts probably put this one at like a 7.5. It is one where I want to continue to do all of them and just kind of see how hard it actually gets. But if you're not a person that really likes just a puzzly game, I don't know if this one will be kind of a long-term game that you'd want. But if you really like trying to solve puzzles and be efficient and get kind of an efficiency puzzle, I think this would be right up your alley. I don't know. I've talked most of the time. What have you thought about it?
That's just because you like it so much.
I do like it.
I'm not a big fan of cooperative games, just in general, but as far as this one went, I felt like it was a decent one, where kind of felt like my actions weren't controlled by, like, another player at the table, kind of an idea, where it truly was, like, cooperative, because you can share, like, limited information, and that's really it. Like, it's not like you sit there theorizing. I hope not, anyway, very long about what you need to do. I could see that happening, though, on in between rounds or whatever, but I thought it was good. It is very puzzly, like you said. I enjoy path building and polyomino included games, and so I felt like this was good. I'd probably give it like a 6 or 6.5.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I wasn't 100% sure on with the rules. How much we could talk about because it was pretty clear on like this, like tile or
the
cards or tiles, whatever you want to call them. I call them tiles because you're placing them out, but they're really just cardboard stock cards.
Yeah.
Card
stock.
Yeah, and it lays that out as to what you can say, like, this would be good for blue, or this would be whatever.
Right.
But like the rest of the information, I'm not sure how much you're supposed to communicate or talk. For like, can you talk about? We should really focus on purple first and then red and then this and that. We kind of played that. We assumed you can.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're playing a cooperative game, if you just kind of
But it was really contained
rules
to
and-
like in between rounds. Like
yeah.
during the game, I think we were mostly just saying like the prescribed what you could say about the tiles, not
Yeah.
really overly like the rest of it, because I think we established at the beginning of the round like what the goal was for that round.
Yeah, we would do that before we'd pick our cards. So
Which
I
did
thought
say
that was
you
fair.
couldn't do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we assumed that. But then there were some tokens that we got after a couple of those first few tutorial games, and you could then with those ones you can
Talk about
about someone or talk about. I don't think you should place that there. There's one that you can just plain out talk
Meow.
specifically, and then there's one where you can meow. We didn't really use that one as much. I don't know. Maybe longer term, or
I think that's
in the
supposed to
later
help
games
with
we
the
could.
theme.
I think that might help with the theme a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that maybe would help later on.
Gonna
But
have
I
to
don't know how
learn.
much you can get across by meowing.
Gonna have to learn how to talk cat.
We're gonna have to. That's our only choice, especially when it really starts getting tough. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how difficult this gets. If it kind of feels like after 10 of the campaign games, if it's feeling the same every time. But I feel like it'll feel. I feel like it'll feel like a puzzle every time, like the same type of puzzle. But figuring that out, whether or not that'll continue to be fun, I don't know.
It'll be interesting too, because I feel like depending on where they put the raft, that can make it different. Kind of like how Planet Unknown's different boards makes you lay tiles differently. Like depending on this raft placement, if it's always as far away as possible, or if they put it in the middle of the board, or what that kind of looks like just in general, I think will be interesting. So.
Yeah. So that is Race to the Raft. The box is actually it looks like it's the size between, like, if you've seen one of the Garfield Games boxes and the Ticket to Ride size box. It's kind of in the middle of those two, so it's not too big of a box, and everything kind of fits in there pretty well, which is nice. That I guess they could have done a Ticket to Ride size box just to keep consistent with a lot of box sizes, but it's fair. It's not like they've made it overly large for no reason
Gonna
either.
cost you $2 extra.
Yeah, that's true.
The larger box.
That is true. But yeah, check this one out. I'm assuming it'll hopefully be available after the fact in retail, because we just got this one.
Kickstarted it?
I think it was Kickstarter or GameFound. I never remember which one's which, because
he backed so many.
yes, but it did. I got to call him out. It did deliver at a September 2023 date of delivering, and it came in July, which is not always typical. So, and I think when back the Isle of Cats stuff, that came early as well. So Frank knows what he's doing. So if you need help figuring out how to deliver your games on time, you ask Frank. Or Shem. Shem
He'll
Phillips
help
is
you.
good too.
Really what he does is he just says it's going to take longer than he actually
That's what he
estimates.
does.
That
He
way
just puts a random date on there. He's like, I know it's going to be July, but I'm just going to put September.
Exactly. Under promise, over deliver.
Exactly. But I respect the honesty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to check out a video, the unboxing video, so you can see a little bit of the components better, you can check that one out. We've got a video on that. Otherwise, we hope to see you there. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.
Meow.